What's our podcast called again?
Keep that. Great.
Let me remember what I was going to say and get this fly out of my drink. Yep.
Welcome
Okay.
Stand by, please. Electric sound, wardrobe, wig, stage management, stage crew, flyers, and all technical departments.
Welcome to Leave the Ghost Light On.
Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Leave the Ghost Light On. My name is Jill, and with me is, again, the lovely Danica. And we are here to tell you some paranormal and tragedy theater stories.
Woo!
Because we're a bunch of theater nerds.
Yay, dorks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, what's new with you right now?
Well, it's not new to me, but it's new to I'm just really excited to let the world know that I'm going to be teaching Shakespeare in performance in Prague for the entirety of July.
Oh, yes.
And so this is actually a class that I created.
Nice.
Which is pretty awesome. And we're actually going to be partnering with Prague Shakespeare Company. So shout out to Prague Shakes and Guy Roberts and everybody who's over there, because hello, I will see you soon. And yeah, and then what's super cool about that also, not only that I'm teaching a Shakespeare class in Prague, whatever,
that's awesome,
super casual, but that some really pretty girl that I know is actually going to be meeting me in Berlin after that.
Oh, tell me more about this pretty girl.
Her name's Jill, and she's a huge theater nerd.
Me? I'm not gonna lie, as you started it, when you were like, I'm gonna meet this really pretty girl, and I was like, oh, I wonder who. Like, I didn't think you were talking about me.
Oh my god. We have such good self-esteem.
I know. But yeah, we'll be seeing each other in Berlin and then going to Edinburgh together.
We're spending I am spending like over a week in Edinburgh to mostly so that I can we can nerd out together and be there for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, because I've never done that, and I've wanted to go since I was in college, and I'm so fucking jazzed. I'm beyond excited about this.
Yep. Meanwhile, I'm an Outlander person. So
but fair, it's still
no, I'm excited to do both. So I've always wanted to go to Scotland in general, and then watching Outlander, I was like, well, now I extra want to go. And that's just a nice little bonus that the Fringe Festival is going to be happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So actually, one of the big shows in Vegas, Atomic Saloon, debuted at the Fringe Festival.
Yay!
Yeah,
so
that's
to see what new stuff is there, and be able to be I saw that at Fringe because I'm a cool person.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a great place to debut stuff, and it's not like a silly little farmer's market of art and stuff like that. It's big.
This is the shit. This is where you go if you're like, hey, so I've got this weird idea for a show, and they're like, yes, please.
Yeah, which essentially is what Atomic Saloon is. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or seen it, but
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. In Vegas, Cirque du Soleil obviously is huge, and then our other, I want to say runner-up, but competition or whatever is Spiegelworld, and they've got a couple of shows, but Atomic Saloon is one of them, and it's just this weird, crazy variety show with lots of sex and sexual innuendos, and
I'm
it's
in.
all like, I know, right? And it's all like saloon and ridiculous thing. It's very silly.
Oh
So
my god, I love it.
yeah,
I love
no,
that. Yeah.
it's actually it's one of my favorites besides any of the Cirque shows. So next time you're in town, we should go see it. So,
Okay.
and we can be like, that was at the French Festival. So
We're gonna rub it in everyone's faces, and
I know, right?
I'm not gonna feel bad about that at all.
No, I won't either. But yeah, I look forward to whenever the list comes out, the set list and all that stuff, and we
Yeah.
have to go through and decide what we're gonna go see. So
God.
hopefully some good shows, some good comedians. I don't think my favorite comedian was his name, Daniel Sloss, something
I
like
hope
that.
it's Sloth because
Yeah,
that
I know, right? I think it's Sloss. But
Daniel
so,
Sloth.
yeah. No, he's actually very good. You should listen to him. I don't know if you're big with comedians and everything.
Oh yeah.
But I like him a lot because he's got a Scottish accent. It's very nice.
Ooh, okay.
And then what I also like is he's my type of comedian, but the very end of his show, he almost tells like a super serious story. A little bit, but it'll be like, it's still, told with jokes and everything, but he's basically like, okay, we're going to take a moment to actually talk about something that's important, kind of a thing.
That's cool.
And so like he'll talk about, like one of his family members is disabled and stuff like that, and we'll tell like something like that, or like he's told like, SA stories and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like just, it humbles the crowd a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's out of left field either. So yeah. Yeah, he's very good. He's got some stuff on Netflix, so you should give him a look.
Cool.
So yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's exciting. You're gonna leave so soon.
I know. Oh Jesus, I know. Yeah.
What is it?
Well,
like,
tell me about you.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't have a ton of stuff exciting going on as far as work wise. Besides obviously, riding your coattails and going to Berlin with you. But I remembered that I sent you some mead not too long ago.
There's little bottles that you totally can't see, but they're right there. I've got all 4 of them.
Yeah,
5.
so
1,
because
2,
I'm
4.
over the age of 30, I've got to have like a lot of random hobbies now.
That's a requirement.
I know it's a requirement. And so I've started making mead and just finished the last like a couple of batches at this point. It was a couple of months ago. But yeah, I sent you some testers and everything. And then
oh my god.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
tell
me what you think.
I'm trying to remember which one was my favorite because I know the blueberry one was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. They're so good. Like folks, like seriously, once these are like available to buy, if you're a mead person, you got to jump on this shit because seriously, like, and I know some shit about mead, and this is it's crazy good. Like,
Thank you. Yeah. My favorite one. It's called Neapolitan Meadery. That's what we've named it. Off after our cats, because we've got 3 cats that are black, white, and orange. So like Neapolitan ice cream. But yeah, no, they're just meat is surprisingly, as long as you're patient, it's pretty easy to make. So, and me being somebody who enjoys drinking was like, can I make it myself and then never have to buy alcohol again?
Right.
The answer is no, but but it's a nice thing to try out.
Yeah, valiant effort.
Yeah, but yeah, I like my favorite one is the juniper one, which is named after my black cat Juniper.
Gosh, so cute.
I know. But yeah, juniper berry is like actually a super popular mead. Like that's what they used to make back in the day. That was the typical flavor because mead is just honey and water and yeast. So yeah. So it's
I've attempted to make a mead. Did not go great. So I'm gonna leave it to you.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got some good flavors going on though. My hair needs to go up. But yeah, we've got some good flavors going on. I have a watermelon one for the summer. And strawberry, and then just more of the other stuff, just more juniper and just your plain mead.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think the ones
I
that you
also love that. So when I got this cute little box, it was like these teeny tiny little bottles, and what comes with them. This was like I didn't expect this. It was so freaking cute that each of them, like you said, each of them is named after one of your cats. But it's like the juniper, and then it'll tell you a whole backstory about juniper, and then like her likes and dislikes.
That's right. Didn't I say like she moonlights as Batman?
So cute. I love it.
That's good. Yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, this could just be a hobby, but like I at this point, whenever all of the batches are done that we've started, we're gonna have like 40 bottles.
Damn. Yeah, you better
Of
start selling that stuff because it is so good.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad that you liked them. So
Yeah,
I'll
very
send you a bottle too. So, but
We're
yeah.
sponsored by ourselves.
I
Love
know,
it.
right? Sponsored by Neapolitan Meadery. The money just goes right back into my pocket.
Oh.
The money that I haven't made.
Fun.
Oh man. Well, I have a really quick, because we showed off our mugs last time. I have
yeah.
changed mugs this time, and it is
Oh.
one of my absolute favorite mugs.
Oh.
It's not theater related, but
Is
it is a
that a possum?
No, it's a hamster
Oh, it's a hamster riding a triceratops.
Yep, wearing a safari hat, surrounded by donuts. Someone gave this to me. Yeah, someone gave this to me for my birthday like 5 years ago,
Incredible.
and I just Huh?
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I opened it and I was just like, yeah, that sums it up.
That is my aesthetic. I can't believe
That is my aesthetic. Like, I'm not huge with dinosaurs, but if there's a hamster riding one, sure.
Yeah, no, that's appropriate. I'm valid. I like it. I'm back to my usual suspects of Beetlejuice water and plain cup scotch.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. I've got my Jack and Coke again. So next time we should drink like 99 Crimes or something. Although this isn't like a true crime podcast, but
there's sometimes crimes. It's also pretty good wine.
I know. I actually really like it a lot. Are you a red drinker or a white?
Yes.
Yeah. That is the correct answer. Does it have alcohol in it? Yes. Oh man. Well then.
Well, what's on the docket today? I think you've got a tragedy, so I've got a ghosty one. So we'll let the tragedy go first.
Yeah, I think that's the way that we'll go. I'm sure we won't have tragedies all the time. I think there's more ghosties than tragedies, but whenever there is a tragedy,
good.
Yeah, that is good. Tragedies are not fun, although they are interesting to research. They are tragic.
Thanks,
oh man. But yeah, well, whenever we have a tragedy, we should have that go first. So, but yeah, so are you ready to crack into it?
I'm ready.
Yeah. All right. So I am doing this week the Ford Theater.
Oh.
Do you know of the Ford? If you know what happened at the Ford Theater, don't say it. But do you know what the Ford Theater is?
It's in DC.
It is. Yes.
Gasp.
Gasp. Okay, so
I mostly know, not gonna lie, I know a lot of the things about it because I directed Assassins.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never seen or read Assassins, so I don't know what that show's about at all.
Okay, go on. That's your story. I'm gonna shut
No,
up now.
you're fine. You're fine. No, that's good. Just if I get anything wrong, don't tell me. No, I'm kidding.
I can't guarantee I will know better than you.
No, you're fine. Okay, so a quick little backstory. The Ford Theater, as we said, is in Washington, D.C., and it was built in 1833. So the Ford Theater was originally a Baptist church meeting hall. So it did not originally start out as a theater, but a meeting hall. But then was eventually renovated into a theater in 1861 by John Ford. So I was actually surprised because if anybody knows what I'm about to talk about, you know the story, but there's actually quite a few tragedies that happened at this theater,
Really?
not just the big one.
I
But
did not know that.
I know I didn't know it either while I was researching it. I was kind of surprised, and it's almost kind of considered a cursed theater a little bit.
Oh.
So so it was like I said, it was a meeting hall for about 30 years, and one of the members of the church, when they found out that it was going to turn into theater, quoted, "That's a dire fate for anyone who turns the former house of worship into a theater."
Thanks.
I know, right? Again, what a thing to say. So I don't think that person would have supported the arts in the future.
I mean, it to be fair, this is not fair, but like, I do know that, still all the way through the 19th century, theater was considered like houses of ill repute.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of an abomination. Like if you were an actor or something, you were scandalous,
because you were
So
more than likely, they still considered actors sex workers,
Mhm.
which was
Yeah.
99% not fucking true.
Yeah, well, like sorry, I'm gonna sidetrack really quick.
Yes.
Have you watched Bridgerton at all?
I've not.
Oh, okay,
I
that's
know
fine.
I need to. I know. I
No,
need to. I
it's
know.
fine. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It is a lot of fun.
No, I
But
do want to see it.
yeah, but it's like
I want to.
I'm sure most people know what I'm talking about. But Bridgerton's kind of like about high society and everything, and follows the Bridgerton family, which is a high society family, Viscount and Viscountess. But the older brother is kind of having like a little bit of like not an affair, but because he's not married, but like an affair with like the best opera singer in town. And like you would think like, oh, this is a great prospect for him. Like what a lovely lady. She's, making money for herself. She's, very gorgeous. And it's like, no, this is not like this is a scandal. The fact that he's with the opera singer. And it's just like, oh,
Would you
man.
please?
I know, right? So it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like at some point spoiler alert, not really. It came out like 4 years ago, so you should have seen it by now. But
Listen, I don't have a lot of time.
no, I'm kidding. No, but essentially he's very, very nice to her. And at some point he's like, all right, well, I gotta go find myself a real wife. And she's like, pardon? Like, I am a real lady. So anyway,
Gross.
but yeah, no, so it kind of makes sense that it's like despite these people being very good at their craft and everything, they're scandalous. So they're selling their bodies. How dare they? Their bodies and their talents.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, so back to the Ford Theater. So essentially it was kind of not necessarily cursed by this member of the church, but they definitely had strong words to say about it being changed from a church into a theater. So, like I said, John Ford bought the theater to renovate it in 1861. And in 1862, it experienced its first tragedy.
Oh my God.
Where it completely burned to the ground.
Oh, whoops.
So it doesn't say how, which makes sense.
I'm going to guess gaslight.
I'm going to guess gaslight too. But yeah, I mean, as far as I know, as far as I looked up, it didn't say that anybody died in it. I don't think it was during a performance. They were if anything, they were in the middle of refurbishing it. But it just says it completely burned to the ground. And then Ford himself with a team completely rebuilt it in 1863.
Ooh, I bet he's got some money.
I know. I was like, he is dedicated to this space. He's like, I bought it. I'm keeping it. But this time he was able to make it a little bit more grander and a little bit more like a theater, less like a meeting house. So in 1865, so again, only 2 years later, the Ford Theater would experience its second and most famous tragedy, perhaps the most famous tragedy in all of theater. It would experience that. Do you have any idea what that might be? Don't say
I have a pretty good idea that it might have something to do with racism, and it might have something to do with the Confederacy, and it might have something to do with the brother of a well-known actor. Just a wild guess.
You are hitting it just right on the nail. So let's back it up a little bit. for a little history lesson.
Oh, thank you.
So, 60 years ago, in 1809, in a log cabin in Kentucky, on February 12th, the birth of Abraham Lincoln happened.
Oh.
Abraham Lincoln would grow up to be the 16th president of the United States, and he was easily one of the most memorable presidents in history, still to this day. And not just because of his insane height, which was 6'4", but also
I thought he was taller than that, but that's still nuts.
So I wrote this down. He was 6'4", but
Mhm.
the average height for a man back in the day was 5'5".
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so for us to
That's
hear 6'4"
bonkers.
now is kinda like,
Right.
but that would be
My
like coming
brother
across
is 6'4".
Yeah, that would be like coming across a 7-foot tall man now, considering that the average for men is, like, I think 5'11" or something like that.
What?
Yeah, so that's how huge he was to everybody around him.
Okay, that's nuts.
Yeah,
That's
he was
nuts. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
he was a tall guy, and then he obviously emphasizes it by his very, very iconic top hat. So and can you guess how tall his top hat was?
Ooh, I'm gonna guess
And it was a
8
stovepipe
inches?
hat, technically, is the
Stovepipes
correct term.
8?
8 inches, yeah. Mhm. Yep, he
Look
had
at it.
quite a few that varied between 7 and 8 inches tall. So,
Damn.
that obviously despite the fact that he was already a giant, he just was like, "We're going for it," and emphasized it quite a bit
Dedication.
more.
I love it.
Alright, so, as I said, he was the 16th president, and he basically walked into his presidency in the middle of the Civil War, in 1861. Um, his Gettysburg Address has gone down in history as one of the greatest and most influential statements. I won't say the whole speech, but just to jog your memory, it's the 407 years ago speech.
Our fathers, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which he gave again at Gettysburg. Okay, so Abe Lincoln was most famous for signing the Emancipation Proclamation in 1963, which didn't necessarily abolish slavery like most people would think. It declared slaves in a state of rebellion to be free.
Mhm.
So it was kind of that first step into abolishing slavery. And then he also promoted the 13th Amendment, which would, in the end, abolish slavery altogether. And by doing all of these things, I didn't actually know this, but he was popular enough and he won a second term as presidency.
Mm.
So I actually did not know that. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
that he got a second term
Mhm.
because it was very short. So So, now that we've done a little bit of backstory on Abe Lincoln, we're going to take a sidestep to our other main character of this infamous story. So, we are going to turn our attention to Mr. John Wilkes Booth. Boo. Again, I had no idea because the United States history and elementary system failed me. But he was actually an extremely accomplished stage actor.
He sure was.
Yeah, and was a very famous one at that, and was very good at what he did. And he was essentially a national celebrity.
Mhm.
So, in the time leading up to the Civil War, he was fairly outspoken about being a Confederate sympathizer, which, looking back at history now, we know is the wrong side.
That's the wrong side.
Bad side. Um, so fun fact, Abraham Lincoln had actually been to the Ford Theater quite a few times and had
Mm.
seen Booth on stage and
Mm.
admired him as an actor. And he liked him so much that he had sent him multiple invites to the White House, but Booth
Oh.
never acknowledged.
Oh.
So, jerk.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna jump in here and
Uh-huh.
add that yes, John Wilkes Booth was a fairly famous actor in his
Mhm.
own right, but
Yeah.
his brother Edwin Booth
That
was
was the
actually more famous and
Hmm.
more highly lauded than he was.
Yeah.
And there
It
are some theories, I love this, some theories that say
was
that
he upset.
the reason he did what he did is
My
because he was
gosh.
a jealous little bitch.
Egos.
Yep.
They will kill us all.
Mhm.
That actually makes
Anyway.
sense. When I looked up his history, I was maybe gonna like dive into like where he was born and all that stuff, but it did say that he was born into a family of accomplished actors, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. This is cool. This is so
Mhm.
cool. I know that I love that I know this still. But that so his father, also a very accomplished, famous actor for the time, played Brutus in yes in Caesar, in Shakespeare's Caesar, and that
Foreshadowing.
right isn't that incredible?
Oh my gosh.
And that was one of John Wilkes's, like, he really wanted to play that role. He like idolized it.
Huh.
Which is so
Well, he got to play it in real life.
But that Edwin Booth, so
Spoiler.
his brother, who again was like more influential and more highly lauded and more well known, actually, I think he still actually holds the record to this day for playing Hamlet the most.
Most?
Like the
Oh,
most.
okay.
I don't know if it's consecutive, but the most number of performances as Hamlet.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
I think I've
Like over 200. It's a wild number.
See, I feel like I've heard that probably like in theater history courses, but I probably just didn't
It's very
connect
cool. He was
the
there.
two.
There are like
Yeah.
portraits of him, like paintings of Edwin Booth
Mhm.
as Hamlet, and you're like, oh,
How
really good looking guy.
embarrassing. Do you know who your brother is? No, good for his brother.
Sucks to
So,
suck, John Wilkes.
hopefully his brother wasn't a fan of the Confederacy as well.
No, he was not. He
Okay,
was
good.
not.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we can like his other brother, which is probably
Yes.
why his portraits are still up.
Edwin.
So
Yep.
okay. So back onto it. So like you said, yeah, Lincoln had invited him to come to the White House multiple times, and Booth just never acknowledged. They knew of each other, but they had never actually like met or talked necessarily. So now we'll go back to Lincoln. On March 4th, Lincoln was sworn in for his second term in 1965. In
Wow.
18 I know, right? Just happened.
It's very old.
Yeah. I know. He's very old. But yeah, in 1865. So around the same time, the recognition date of the end of the Civil War was April 9th, 1865. When Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant in Virginia. Get it?
Y'all lost, bitch.
So, despite the war essentially being over, obviously there's still some stuff that's going to go on and everything. But despite the war essentially being over and the Confederacy's defeat, in a letter Booth sent to his mother, he mentioned wanting to avenge the South. And in Booth's journal that he wrote on April 14th, it said, quote, "Our cause being almost lost, something decisive and great must be done."
What a
guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the morning of April 14th, when Booth was at the theater to pick up his mail, he learned that the Lincolns would be in the theater along with Ulysses S. Grant. And Booth and his fellow conspirators planned to kidnap the president and stab Grant.
I did not realize that Grant was supposed to be there. I did not fucking know that.
Yeah, and I've got a nice little fun fact of like why he got saved. So essentially, Booth was going to take care of the president and Grant, and then his conspirators were supposed to be taking care of the vice president, Andrew Johnson, who was staying at the Kirkwood Hotel. As history would tell, that is not how it went down. So,
what do you mean?
On April 14th, while Lincoln and his wife Mary were watching the production of Our American Cousin from their presidential suite, John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln at 10:15, and Lincoln died of the gunshot wound to the head the next day. So, that's the tragedy that we're talking about. But I'm going to give you some fun facts. Less than fun facts?
Fun?
I don't know if fun's the right word, but we do have a good fun fact. So remember how I said that Grant was supposed to attend the performance? In which he would have met his end as well. So apparently they didn't attend because their wives didn't get along.
Good for Grant, man. I guess,
I
maybe
know,
it's
right?
okay.
So I literally wrote down, so squabbling wives saved Ulysses S. Grant.
I mean, it counts for something, I guess. Like,
But yeah, essentially, Ulysses S. Grant, his wife did not like Mary and did not want to spend any time with her.
what's her problem?
I know it. I wish it had said. I'm sure we could do a deep dive into that and be like, why
Oh
these
my
ladies not like each other? But then
Right?
again,
Ooh, that'd be
yeah,
interesting.
girl power was not a thing yet. But yeah, so he was supposed to attend, and basically last minute was like, nah, we're not going to. And then so the other, I've got a couple of fun facts. So the other fun fact is obviously apparently the original plan was to kidnap the president, but Booth pretty much changed his mind pretty last minute and tried to convince the other men as well to follow suit. They obviously didn't, since Andrew Johnson was going to be our next president. And they basically just backed out and ran away. So I found this, as awful as the situation is, I kind of found this kind of interesting. So Booth was obviously a very good actor, and he planned the exact moment that he would shoot the president based on what was going to be happening in the play. Like, it wasn't this kind of like random event or anything. So essentially, so this is what I think you were going to say, but if you want to elaborate on it, when I'm done, but whatever. If you want to elaborate on it, then you can. But essentially, because he was such a well-known actor and everything, he was one of the only few people that was able to get close enough to the presidential booth and sneak in, because like I said, he was a big actor and everything, and it just kind of made sense. There was also some information that said that his Abe Lincoln's like bodyguards essentially had like gone to the pub and left him kind of like
they like
unattended.
stepped away.
Yeah, they stepped away during intermission.
I think like one of the theories is that they were like, you're fine, I'll just go to the pub. One of them was that they went to the loo, or there's
but
like
essentially
1,000 other theories of like why the bodyguards were just not there. At the time, like, bodyguards weren't really a big thing.
Yeah, they weren't big.
It was a dude.
Yeah.
One fucking guy that was just like, and so nobody could like relieve him if he had to go to the bathroom. He was just like, all right, I'm gonna go take a piss, and then what are you gonna do? So,
but in the end, they're saying like even if he had been there, Booth probably still would have been able to get by, just because of
his notoriety, and like he got backstage and like into the house and all this kind of stuff, because they're like, oh hey, what's up?
Yeah, and it was just normal for him to be there. So he actually snuck into the booth prior to the actual shooting. He was there for a couple of minutes, essentially, just like hanging out, waiting for the moment. So this is why I was staring at my notes, because I was like, where the heck did this quote come from? But his plan was to fire off the gun when an actor would deliver a line causing everyone to laugh. So the line was, "Well, I guess I know enough to turn you inside out, old gal. You sock-dozzling old man-trap."
That's what a comic. That's a heavy-hitting, real funny, side-splitting knee slapper right there.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's the line. And so that's the line that he waited for. And obviously that's the big crowd pleaser, laughing. So as soon as everybody started laughing, sadly, Abe Lincoln himself, that was when he fired the trigger. So, and then essentially after that, I'm not going to cover this too crazy. We don't need too much of a history lesson. But after that, Booth essentially went on the run for about 12 days, running 90 miles until he was eventually killed while evading capture. So
possibly. There's a lot of theories that he escaped and that it wasn't him that was in the barn and like all this kind of shit. But yeah, I like to think that he was fucking killed right there. Yeah, that just makes me happy. But
yeah, right. But yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna get into all the crazy history of that. So we're here to talk about theater. So not American history and how they decided to write it.
Damn.
But anyway, so So, a really quick, so that kind of concludes the story of Lincoln and everything. Like I said, he died the next day, not in the theater, but
Like
he was essentially gone at
across
that
the
point.
street or
Yeah, it was
something.
across the street.
Yeah.
So, but one more fun fact until I move on. So there are multiple accounts about apparently Lincoln had a premonition of his death multiple times before his assassination. And like I said, there's multiple accounts of it from Grant, his wife, and plenty of other people. So basically, he had a dream that he was walking through the White House and soldiers were guarding a corpse that had a blanket over its head, and crowds of people were weeping as they stood by. And he asked a nearby soldier who had died, and they responded, "The president. He was killed by an assassin." Mm-hmm.
Fuck, that's heavy.
Yeah. But yeah, and that, like I said, there's multiple accounts of that where it's like Mary, like he would tell Mary about it and she was like, don't dwell on it, it'll be fine. So yeah, but he had that dream. I think I read he had that dream like a couple of months ahead of time, and then he had the dream like a couple of days before. Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
So
Oh
yeah.
God.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool, like, you know, paranormal, whatever ascension, but it's
Dude,
like also
premonition stuff, like
yeah.
to me, premonitions are kind of no joke.
Mhm.
Like there's
Yeah.
too much shit that happens that I just
Yeah. It's like
I
that whole
can't
like
dismiss that.
yeah. And I mean it kind of made sense. You know, he had a target on his back.
I was literally gonna say that. Like
Mhm.
he had to know that, like, you know, he was a
Mhm. Yeah.
well-known and in
Yeah.
some accounts
Yeah.
very
But
hated
also
man.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. But also he was the first president to get assassinated. So
oh,
this was not
that's right.
yeah, he was the first. So it's not like this was a normal thing for people to, look out on or,
Mhm.
assume it's going to happen. So,
Right.
but anyway, so that kind of sums up
Ooh.
everything involving that history lesson. But now we'll shift back to the Ford Theater and continue about its misfortunes because we're not done there.
Oh my God.
So on July of 1865, so Lincoln's assassination was in April. So
Mhm.
we're in July. The Ford reopened after being closed for investigation, and they were supposed to open the show of Octoron. Octotoron. I've never heard of it. But they were supposed to
I
reopen.
know the show Octoroon.
That might be what it is.
Is it
Octoroon.
Octoroon?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So they were supposed to
Um,
reopen Octoroon on July 10th.
which,
But
okay, to be fair, so I read that play. I read that playing in
mhm.
undergrad or grad school or something. That like there's a really good newer adaptation of it, but like the original
Oh,
is a
see, I don't.
little bit of a hard pill to swall.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I was like, I don't know it at all. But then again, I don't know any
Mhm.
place. So
Racism. Anyway.
okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense then. Well, in good news then, on July 10th, when it was supposed to open, the War Department seized the theater and closed it, saying that no one should ever step foot in here again, and
Oh
that
shit.
attempting to coin on the blood of a great man is disgraceful.
Ooh, I mean, they got a point.
They've got a point, but
They got a point.
mhm.
Mhm.
So over the next couple of months, basically Andrew Johnson was trying to decide if it was ethical to seize the property.
Mhm.
Um, but during that time, the government proceeded to completely gut the interior of the theater.
Oh. Well, you know,
Yeah, so while he was contemplating it, they were still going to town on it.
he's
So
like,
basically,
we're just gonna go ahead, just do it.
so yeah, so basically they gutted the entire inside of the theater and literally only left the 4 interior walls and the front facade. Everything was gone.
Jesus.
Yeah, they went to town. Um, so from 1866 to 1931, the Ford building, as it was now going to be called, was turned into a medical museum and office building.
Ew.
So I know, right? Boring.
I don't know. That always that phrase just kind of always goes.
Me, medical museum. so, so it's kind of yeah. So it transferred out of being a theater, turned into a museum and office building until 1931. But in 1893, another tragedy would strike.
God.
So all of the excavations that had taken place while the building was seized had basically destabilized the theater. The
Oh.
tragedy that happened was the third floor was installed during the renovations because they obviously renovated it, turning it into office buildings. The third floor completely collapsed and took out all of the floors under it.
Holy shit fuck.
Mhm.
I've never heard of this.
Right? Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my gosh." But yeah, it killed
Oh,
22 people and
holy
injured
shit.
65.
Oh my
I know
god.
this building's going through a lot.
Just tear it down. Shit. At that point, oh, that
Like,
is cursed.
just
Fuck.
give up. But yeah, can you
Oof.
imagine that just third floor just so basically
Oh
detonated on the inside.
god.
Um, but they didn't give up yet. So in 1932, the Ford building was transferred to under the protection of the National Park Service. On
Oh.
Lincoln's 123rd birthday, they opened it as the Lincoln Museum in another newly renovated building. So
Okay, that's
hopefully
kind
with
of cool though.
better infrastructure now.
Yeah, right. God.
So, uh, fun fact, some of the items that were requested for the museum, but were ultimately rejected for being inappropriate were this is nuts. This part's not. The pistol, the bullet, and pieces of Lincoln's skull.
Okay, no. Like I could deal with the pistol. I
Yeah,
don't want to see the bullet that fucking killed him, and I sure as fuck don't want to see his
right. His
shattered skull.
skull. Like that's when I read that, I was like, the gun makes sense. So I will say, eventually the gun would be put on display in 1988. And
Oh,
they did put on fragments of the bullet. So, but not his skull. That was
yep,
still
thank
too
you.
gross,
Good. Okay, good. Good,
right?
great.
Yeah, exactly.
My god.
So, so we're almost done. In 1965, Congress approved a $2 million to restore the theater to how it would have looked on April 14th, 1865.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you go there now, it's not the original stuff, but it's it's a refurbished look. And then the theater actually reopened as a working live theater in 1968.
Oh, that's cool.
The very last renovation took place in from 2007 to 2009, just kind of like re-upping everything, electricity and all that kind of stuff, and reopened on his birthday again in
Oh,
February 12th of 2009.
that's cool.
Today, you can take historical tours and
Which
actually even
I
see
am planning to do when I am
Mhm,
in DC in
yeah.
like a week and a half.
Oh, nice. You'll have to let us
Mhm.
know how it is. Take some
Yeah.
pictures.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so they have, like I said, you can take historical tours. You can also see a show. It is a working theater.
Yeah.
And they have, from what I could see from past seasons, they have an annual run of A Christmas Carol. But they
Huh?
have also they kind of have shows about Lincoln, and
Yeah, they
stuff like that
do.
too.
I looked that up recently.
Mhm. Yeah, but then they have also done contemporary shows such as Come From Away,
Oh,
Little
what?
Shop of Horrors, and then our favorite, which we will tell a story about later, Into the Woods. Into the Woods! We'll have to tell that next time. So, I know I saw that and I was like, "I gotta
Happily.
add Into the Woods in." Duh. So
Amazing.
as far as like I said, almost done. As far as spooky ooky ghost stuff goes,
Woo.
Lincoln is considered one of the most seen apparitions of all time.
That's cool.
Um, he's got such an iconic look and everything, but
Mhm.
he's been seen around Washington D.C., mostly in the White House, the Capitol building, the building which he actually died in, and then of course in the theater. The accounts like he's just kind of chilling out. The accounts are usually just of a tall man in a top hat looking stoically off in the distance before he disappears. He's not very interactive
That's
or
so
doing
cool.
anything. But yeah, and same thing in the White House. He's just kind of seen just looking off very stoically.
That's so
Um they also have seen what they think to be maybe apparitions of Booth as well in the theater.
cool.
But in general, all of the ghosts that have been seen are fairly docile and are just
That's good.
apparitions. So yeah, so that is the story of the tragedy of the Ford Theater.
Wow, that was awesome. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited about that one. So, also
Wow.
just finding out that it's like, oh, like the Ford Theater like went through some shit.
I had no idea about those other
Me neither. Me
tragedies.
neither.
That's wild.
Yeah, when I originally thought about this, I was like, "Oh, it's just gonna be Lincoln's assassination," and then it's
Right.
like, "Oh no, this poor theater." So,
God.
luckily,
Oh,
it seemed to take a turn in the
yeah.
1900s. The theater
Yeah.
was like, "Alright, we got out all the bad juju."
It's like, we're
So
good now.
turn us into a museum, we were
No more
happy
weird
then.
shit.
So yeah,
Good
yeah,
Lord.
that's my story.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so we're gonna take a bit of a left turn and go into spooky ooky times.
Mhm. Maybe.
Because as a lot of theater people will know, there is a saying that is every theater has a ghost.
Mhm.
That might not necessarily be true, but this next one that I'm going to tell you about is very much true. Like there are too many reports
Mhm.
that like there's no way to like kind of dispel this one at this point. There's just too many sightings, too many whatever. So
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about the Belasco Theater in New York City.
We're going back
So,
to Broadway.
yeah, we're going back to. So, my first trivia question: do you know the first name of the gentleman this theater is named for?
Bob.
It's just as white, but it is David.
David?
David
That's
Belasco.
my papa's name.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
My white
So
papa.
I mean, he is pretty white. No, let's not lie.
Yep.
So David Belasco was a prolific Broadway producer,
Hmm.
something what is known as an impresario, which is absolutely a term we need to bring back,
Okay.
which is basically a producer. But
Oh, I was like, he
um,
got a nice personality.
he's very impressive.
Yeah, personado.
Impresario is like he's the person that like bankrolls stuff and like,
Yeah.
but he was also a writer and director and producer. So
Okay.
in the early part of the 20th century, this guy did it all.
Mhm.
Belasco, he often wore a clerical collar, especially later in life, which is, you know, the little
Hmm.
priest collar
Yeah,
thing, the white thing.
mhm.
He was of Jewish descent, though he wasn't a practicing Jew. He didn't like actually practice any kind of religion. He just,
Did
um,
he
he
was
knew
he
it
just
would make
being
him stand out.
fashionable?
Yeah, he literally wore it because he was like, I don't know, it looks cool.
Hmm.
People are gonna know it's me. Nobody else is doing it. So
Nice.
sure.
Maybe
Um,
I'll take a page from his book and start wearing the Mormon dresses. Fashion. With the ponies. I'm close enough to
so
Utah,
hot.
so
So hot. So hot. Oh my God, are you Mormon? No.
I know, right? Such a look. I just really like your
Just a
garb.
look. It's just a look.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
But he actually, so aside from being a writer, director, producer, he's probably most well known for his innovative use of theatrical lighting,
Ooh, okay, something I know
and
nothing about.
directorial work in naturalism,
Okay.
which at the turn of the 20th century was still in its infancy, especially in the U.S. Like
Mhm.
Stanislavski had only come over to the U.S. once or twice until then,
Mhm.
so it wasn't really nobody was really doing realism, naturalism until then. So
Yeah.
he was one of the first directors in the U.S. to really use it
Hmm,
well.
okay.
And all of his innovative lighting stuff, like I highly recommend looking him up and looking at all of his very cool, unique lighting stuff that we actually still use today. It's very cool.
Nice, good for him.
Um,
Somebody who deserves to have a theater named after them, maybe.
yeah, right. It's amazing.
Not
So,
just a rich
and
man.
technically, yes, yeah, he
Well, maybe
wasn't
he is,
just
but
a rich dude that like it's not like the fucking Pepsi theater or whatever. Like it's 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 named after a dude
where's
that
the Pepsi theater?
I totally made that up. But like in that vein of like the corporate like
Mhm.
um bullshit corporate theaters that are fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like music venues. I'm just like,
In LA, it's the cryptocurrency building.
please tell me, is that true?
It's the here, you keep telling your thing, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it is the cryptocurrency arena.
Like I know we have like the TD Ameritrade Bank concert hall or whatever the
Mhm.
fuck. I'm like, oh my god, that sounds so magical.
I know, right? Like, that's where I wanna go. It's the crypto arena in LA.
Y'all, ask one 12-year-old. How cool does that sound? You'd be like, are you fucking dumb?
Yeah, you should look it up. It's their basketball, stadium and their, like, big venue in LA. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
I don't wanna.
I'm
so
sad now.
sad. Anyway, so there have been technically 2 Belasco theaters. The original was on 42nd between 7th and 8th, 7th and 8th, which was originally called the Republic Theater.
Okay.
It was renamed the New Victory in 1995. But
Okay.
so yeah, that was the original Belasco.
Mm.
But the second, which is the one that most people know of, is of course still in operation today as a Broadway venue. Is
Quick
located
question.
on
Is the New Victory still there? I don't think I've ever
yeah,
heard
New
of
Victory
them.
is still
Oh,
in
it is?
operation. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
The now Belasco is
Mhm.
on 44th between 6th and 7th.
Okay.
Yes, there are a couple of other Belasco theaters around the country, but
But
that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk
Mhm.
about spooky David
Yeah.
Belasco.
Screw those other Belascos.
Yeah. They're totally named for him because, again, super impressive and super influential.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
David Belasco died on May 14th, 1931, at the age of 77 in Manhattan. No, he did not die in the theater. He died in his apartment, which is not the one that he did own, which was above the theater. But he died at his apartment, which was at what used to be the Hotel Gladstone off Park Avenue. And actually, the newspaper that printed the details of his passing originally in 1931 listed his age as 76. They are wrong. He was 77. And I don't know math that well, but like I did it and it's 77. So
we do math good.
At the Belasco itself, there are 2 reported deaths like within the building or like on the premises of the building over the years. One was a woman who, there are varying reports on this. She may or may not have been Belasco's mistress, but she was definitely an actress, a vaudeville actress.
Was it
very proud of it
Olive
at the time?
Thomas?
It was not Olive. But
what a lady.
But,
she was already dead.
she was very dead by then. But she was definitely an actress, and she actually, this is gruesome, but she fell down an open elevator shaft.
No, those are always the worst
I-
because sometimes I'm always like, how? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
not to be judgmental, but
I did
how?
hear, I don't remember what I was listening to, some other podcast recently that was like, so you cannot, it's so fail safe in terms of like, you can't just like, the cables will not just snap and like free fall, whatever.
Right.
That's not a thing. But what is definitely a thing is the doors open for some fucking reason. They open and you just walk into nothing and you just plummet to death. And that does still happen, unfortunately.
I mean, I guess to be fair, like maybe in like the 1930s, I'd be like, how? But like nowadays, yeah, I 100% when I'm
Somebody
at work,
on
we
their
have an
phone.
elevator. I probably ride 25 times a day because I'm lazy and don't want to take the stairs. And I mean, 90% of those ones, I'm like staring at my phone. So I could definitely see just like bloop, bloop, bloop. However, though, after this story, I guarantee you, I'm going to stare into that elevator every single time now.
Yeah. So that is confirmed. That is how she died, was falling through an open elevator shaft.
Nice.
We don't know whether or not for sure she was actually his mistress, but there are some reports out there that she was.
Yeah.
The other is a woman who I didn't get an actual date, but because of the theater's history, it actually turned from theater to it kind of became defunct for a while, and it turned into a pornography house for a while. It was a myriad of other things, but the other known death on that property was a stripper who committed suicide by hanging herself in the theater's basement.
Oh, that poor lady.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
There's really no known reason why she would have done it in the basement. Like,
yeah, that's interesting.
it skews me out a little bit and makes me go, are we sure that was like,
Are we sure that was a suicide?
right? Like,
Yeah.
okay. But
Lady of the Night
that
and
is
everything.
someone,
Well,
that
I
is
guess
a
it's Lady of the
confirmed
Night.
death though. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So now getting to the spooky part. So there are quite a few sightings, like almost too numerous to count,
Mhm.
of Belasco's ghost. And quite a few
Ooh.
sightings here and there of someone who has been dubbed the Blue Lady, though
There's
it's not really
always a
clear
blue
if that's
lady.
the actress or the stripper. Like, we don't know
Mhm.
which one she is. Is it both in different forms? We don't really know.
Yeah.
And the majority of the sightings of any of them actually have been reported by actors working at the Belasco.
Oh, nice.
Which is really cool. So just to give a little bit of an overview of the kind of stuff that's in there right now, just as a little bit of a side note, the longest running show that ever happened in the Belasco was Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
I love that show.
It's so good. It's my favorite.
That was one of the first like professional shows that I did as a props master.
Really? I didn't know
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
it was Hedwig. Really quick side note of my favorite prop that we had to build for it. Like, I don't know how like scripted the whole show is or anything, but basically Hedwig is trying to like sell a perfume or like a piece of a cosmetic, and we had to build a giant lipstick container, like as big as a human being, and they actually spun it, and the lipstick came out, and it was like holding the product.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Okay,
And then
that's so cool.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I did that, and then it was also my very, very first prop that I did at Phoenix Theater Company,
Oh,
and it was a gummy bear ukulele.
oh, gummy bearing.
Mhm, for I don't remember the love interest name, but that one.
Tommy Nassus.
Yes.
Oh my god, I just pulled that out of thin fucking air. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But yeah, it
Tommy
was
Nassus.
but yeah, I had to, like, carve a gummy bear out of foam and paint it hot pink with glitter and make it look like a ukulele. I mean, she didn't or it was I mean, it's a female actress, but, she didn't play it, but still.
That's
But yeah, that
really
was my
cool.
first show as a props master.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have never actually seen a show in the Belasco. What's there right now? They did just do How to Dance in Ohio, which is supposedly an amazing fucking
Oh,
show.
nice. Okay.
Appropriate is in there right now, which is again.
Okay.
I've never seen the show. I desperately want to because everything I've heard about this show is stellar.
I'm gonna guess
But anyway,
it's a show about people being not appropriate.
oh, I mean, I guess you could say that.
I don't know what it's about at all.
You gotta read more plays, girl.
I know. I've had a couple of people tell me that. Send me stuff. I'll read it. I swear.
Okay, I will. Careful what you wish for, because listen. Anyway, okay. So, reports of sightings. Some cannot be confirmed or are not attributed to any single contributor, but there are just a wild amount of resources and sightings everywhere. There's one actress, Melissa Errico, claims to have seen a man in a long frock coat and a clerical collar walk into a mirror in the hallway while she was preparing for a scene. And she also says, I think she said her costume designer also saw the same guy going down the opposite way in the hallway. An anonymous actress, so we don't know who this was or when this was, said that she was taking a shower post-show, heard her locked dressing room door swing open, but that upon investigation, it was still locked, and the bathroom then gave off an eerie blue glow.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh man, that's
So
like the
was
worst
that
time.
Belasco
Tell
being
me-
like a perv, or was that like the blue lady being like, hey?
Okay, I'm also like, don't tell me that it was like while this actress was washing her face, because that's everybody's worst nightmare is when
Isn't it?
You're like I'm cleaning here, and then as soon as you have to go over the eyes, you're like, please don't stop me! Like
Truer words were never spoken.
oh
I
my
think
gosh.
that's so many women's fear. Like
I
I'm
know,
not
like
even kidding.
I go through that part so fast, and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm fine.
We're all with you.
Mhm.
Oh my god. There's another one from actor Stephen Henderson,
Mhm.
who's fabulous actor in his own right. Was in the wings running lines in Latin, and I don't know what show. When he
Ooh.
heard a voice behind him say, "Excuse me," and when he turned around to move out of the way, he saw a man with salt and pepper hair, a black coat, and a clerical
Mhm.
collar.
Oh,
And
okay.
then he was like, "Oh, sorry," and then he turned back around and he's gone.
At least he wasn't like, "Excuse me, sir. Your Latin sucks."
Oh, we'll get there. Oh my god,
Oh,
we
are
will
you
get there. Okay, so there's another one that actor Daniel Breaker, who was putting on
Mhm.
his makeup in his dressing room, saw a white-haired man in his mirror sitting behind him watching. When he spun
Ooh.
around, no one was there.
That one, I don't know why, but that one, like, literally gave me goosebumps. Oh, that one, oh,
Right?
it's like, yeah, it's, like, going all around my body. Ooh, I don't like that one at all. Oh, there's something about seeing somebody in the
Oh,
mirror. Oh, now I'm imagining
and
somebody's behind me. I don't like it. Okay.
mhm, I will tell you. I will tell you if someone's behind you. Don't worry. I will tell you. Um, okay, so now this kind of fun stuff.
Mhm.
One user on Reddit said, "I worked on a show at the Belasco Theater in NYC. It's known for being haunted. The spotlight operator would often go to the booth to find the spotlight turned on. Then I had the experience with a helpful ghost. Part of my preset involved setting out period money for one of the leads. His dresser would get the money and preset it in certain pockets of his costume.
Mhm.
One night, the dresser came to me asking where the money was. It was gone from the table. I got him replacement money. When the dresser
Oh,
went upstairs, all the money was preset in the correct pockets. This happened a number of times during the run."
how helpful. See, if I was ever a ghost, because I mean, I'm a stagehand technically now, but if I was ever a stagehand and got stuck in a Broadway theater, I'd probably do stuff like
Yeah, no, of course, you just want to be helpful, like,
I know,
right?
I'm like, "You know what? You guys, this performance needs to be really good, so I'll just give you a hand."
This is some of my favorite part about this is that it is said that if David Belasco approves of the show, he can be seen even shaking hands with the actors. People have sworn that a man with salt and pepper hair and a clerical collar
Oh my
have
gosh.
shaken hands with him,
Uh-huh.
shaked hands with him.
Shooked.
He shook. They shook hands. Okay, so however, if he's not a fan, you can hear him booing from the house, or like, or on occasion, actors will find their dressing rooms ransacked. Like
Oh
he's just
my
like throwing shit all over the place. Like, how fucking
jeez.
dare you?
Yeah, what
You
a
make a
guy.
mockery of my stage.
I'm also just imagining somebody like, "Boo!" in the audience, and they're like, "Sir, can you be quiet?" And they're like, "That wasn't me.
It was a ghost.
That was a ghost. Boo!"
I would totally blame it on a ghost.
But no,
Boo! It was David. I don't know.
I don't know, it was that Belasco man, he had a clerical collar on.
Oh my god.
But that's
Oh
crazy though, the
my god.
ransacked,
Yeah,
dressing rooms.
yeah.
Jeez.
That's wild.
Mhm.
Um, Other visitors and even staff report that the non-functioning elevator that serviced Belasco's apartment that was upstairs,
Uh-huh.
which is now kind of off limits,
Okay.
the elevator will run for no reason.
Oh, I love that.
It's supposedly out of service and like not functioning. And they're just like,
Oh, and it'll just run
why
on
is it
its
fucking
own.
here and the doors are open?
Oh, man, I love that. Again, I'm getting some goosebumps from that one. I don't know why, but yeah, I love that
I
stuff.
love that.
Mhm.
He is also sometimes seen in the theater's private audience boxes during rehearsals or opening nights.
Okay.
I guess that's before he finds out whether or not it's good, so he knows whether or not he needs to shake your hand or boo you.
Boo! These rehearsals are gonna be
Some
dope.
ghost hunting teams have been in to do like field investigations with
Mhm.
varied results as expected.
Mm. Yeah. I'm
Um,
surprised a Broadway theater would let people in to do something like that.
mhm.
So the one that I did last week, the New Amsterdam, they have a
Yeah.
very strict, like, no.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm.
really quick, I don't think I said this, but yeah, they have to, like, there's people who are absolutely obsessed with it, and they have an
Mhm.
entire security crew, like, at the end who has to sweep the entire building to make sure that there's no one, like, waiting
Oh,
because, the ghost of Olivia Thomas usually only comes out when there aren't a lot of people around.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's interesting that they're like, come on in, whereas New Amsterdam was like, get out.
It's not a ton of them. Like I was only able to find 3 or 4.
Still though, that's kind of
but
cool.
yeah, that's yeah. So is it haunted? I mean, given the number of sightings, reports, it certainly seems so.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Again, like I've never been there, but the pictures, this place is stunning. Like the way that you were describing the New Amsterdam, I was just like, it's incredible. Like we'll put some pictures up on our Instagram and stuff. It is absolutely incredibly gorgeous. And obviously anything you could see there is definitely going to be worth your while because it is a Broadway house. Like go see some stuff there.
Yeah. Broadway houses are going to be my favorite. So, I mean, they're also, I mean, I don't think we've been into a single Broadway house so far that's been like,
right. I mean, they're fucking better for the amount of money that we pay for a ticket.
Yeah,
you better make sure that theater is gorgeous.
It's
like
gorgeous. Yeah, like some of the theaters are obviously like smaller, and like the Miscoff one, the one that Lion King is in, is fairly modern, and same with the Wicked one, the Gershwin.
Yeah.
Like those ones are
huge.
Yeah, those ones are more like kind of like your modern look, but still, yeah, most of them are. You like I said, you're not gonna walk in, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, I've never been
Give
to
me some Midsummer Night Dream sculptures up in here.
Ew.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so I'm gonna put my sources up on the show notes and everything.
Next time we go to New York, which I'm sure will be very soon, we should go and see some of these theaters. So
hey, anybody with hookups, you should let us know so we can come get some tickets because that shit's expensive.
It is expensive, so but it's worth it because it's Broadway.
Yeah, it truly is, though. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
It's an experience like no other.
I know, right? That was a good story. I'm sad that I've never, like I said, I was looking it up. I could have sworn that I've been to the Belasco, but I guess I've just walked past it. So
like, I can't believe I've never been to the Belasco or the New Amsterdam. I'm like, what am I?
Yeah, I've never been to New Amsterdam. So, but I mean, you know, for anybody who's been on Broadway, they're all pretty close to each other. They're all within what 10 blocks
at the most.
At the most, yeah, they're all kind of like there might be the occasional one like the Al Hirschfield, which is where Moulin Rouge is. That's kind of that one's kind of by itself a little bit. So, and like where we saw Doubt was kind of like at the end, it seemed like, but for the most part, they're all kind of jammed in there together. So, well, that was a very good story.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to go see a ghost in a clerical collar now.
Right?
That way I can be like, what's up with that man?
Hey.
Hey.
The thing that I forgot to add in this is that he was a well-known ladies' man. Which is why that one actress was like maybe a mistress or whatever. But there are some reports that he will like pinch ladies' bottom.
Oh my gosh, those are always the worst ones.
Come on. Have a little decorum when you're dead.
I know, right? Pinch some men's butts for
Yes! Equality!
Equality! When me and you are ghosts, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be pinching everyone's butts.
It's going to be our first shirt. Pinch the men's butts. And on the back, it'll just say equality.
Equality! Pinch, pinch.
Y'all, okay. It's probably time to call it.
I think so. Yes.
Before I cry myself out of this. Okay.
Yeah. Leave the ghost light on. And cut. I got chips stuck in my throat. Until next time, don't forget to leave the ghost light on. Thank you for joining us. Leave the Ghost Light On was created, hosted, and edited by Danica Jackson and Jill Horn.
Musical composition created by Jay Nygaard.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, and more.
Oh, I can talk about my Prague shit.
Your frog shit?
Prague?
Oh. I'm gonna
How
say
much
that
do I want to
again.
leave that in?
No, I'm gonna say that again.